Hi, I'm Rick Grayson. Welcome to Rick's Corner. I'm here at the World Gym Convention in Las Vegas, Nevada, with a very dear friend of mine who I've known for quite a long time, Mike Uretz, who's been with Gold's Gym and World Gym for since day one, right?
That's right.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit. What was the first year that you introduced yourself to the gym down in Venice? Which would be Gold's at the time?
The very first gym I was introduced to was Gold's Gym, and the reason I was introduced to it was that I had a cousin. I was living in Malibu, and I had a cousin who said, "What are you going to do in the winter for exercise?" And I said, "Nothing. Run on the beach, go in the water." He said, "Well, I go to this gym. It's kind of goofy, but you might like it." So on a Saturday, we went to this little bitty gym. It was called Gold's Gym in Venice, and at first I just thought it was a complete freak show.
Yeah.
But there was something about it that really charged me up, and I came back and I joined, and it was a great experience.
What year was that?
That was 1971.
Okay, so Joe had the gym already 7 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe was out, but he came to the gym almost every day that he was in town.
Right.
It worked out.
And you guys became pretty good friends.
It wasn't so much that we became friends. The word got around in the gym that I was a lawyer.
Yeah.
And those guys were all broke.
Yeah.
So they would come to me with whatever little silly legal problem they had, and I'd give them an answer that half the time was probably not even right. But Joe came to me with his tale of woe, and that was he had owned the gym and sold it. And when he sold it, he sold his name, and he sold the rights to ever open up a gym anywhere in the world.
Right.
So he said to me, "Well, I'm sorry I did that." And I said, "Well, you should be sorry you did it. But when you want to open a gym, you come to me, and I will guarantee you'll open it, no matter what that contract says." And that was the beginning of our relationship.
Right. And that was the beginning of World Gym.
It was a few years later,
right.
But yes, that was the germination of it. And Joe went on from there. He went out to sea. He put his money together. He would take these trips, 54 days around South America.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't spend a dime. And when he got home, he'd have a pile of money, and he'd put it away, and then he'd go out to sea again. He put all that money together. He borrowed some money from a guy named Bug-Eyed Louie,
Yeah, I know Bug-Eyed
who
Louie.
used to work out in the gym.
Yeah.
And he was able to secure a piece of property on Main Street, which was a dump. You remember, right?
Sure,
what it was like.
sure. Cinder block building.
And hookers across the street.
Yeah.
Anyway, he borrowed the money. He built this little 2,200 square foot gym and opened it up, and the rest is history.
The rest is history. But the gym had its cast of characters.
Oh my God.
And I'm not talking about one or two people. There's like 25 guys that came to that gym outside the other members that were very distinctive in their personalities and their looks and everything that they did.
Very, very.
And Joe put a name on every one of them.
Every one of them.
Everyone had a nickname.
Yeah.
Even Bug-Eyed Louie.
Bug-Eyed Louie, he's called Bug-Eyed Louie because his eyes were kind of popping out of his head.
Yeah.
And that was his name. There was a guy that came in the gym, his name was John Likes. I learned his name years later.
He passed away, you know.
Did he really?
Yeah, a few years ago. Yeah, I remember John Likes.
Well, anyway, the only name I knew was Stinky.
Yeah.
Joe called him Stinky because he ate a lot of garlic and he didn't like showers. So when he came in the gym, it was like the smell would follow behind him.
The funny thing about John is I used to see him on commercial auditions, and he wore the same striped pants and the same shirt on every audition. He had his head shaved, so he took a piece of fur off of an animal and he put it down his head like a mohawk, and then he'd take a marking pen and put tattoos on him for the commercial audition. And every once in a while he'd book something, and then I go to the omelet parlor, and I see they had the John Likes omelet. They named an omelet after him. That's pretty bizarre. How would you describe one of the characters who were friends of ours? He was a good guy, Bugsy Siegel.
Well, Bugsy, I talked to Bugsy quite often. He used to train with a guy named Tony Novak, who unfortunately is no longer with us.
Right.
And Bugsy had not obviously, but he had a very unusual way of training.
Yes, one-arm bench presses.
No, forget all that. Bugsy would park in a no parking zone in front of the gym. And before he came into the gym, I thought was getting his bag out of the car.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. He had a half pint of vodka. He would take 3 or 4 giant swallows.
Yeah.
Close the trunk, and then he'd come up to the gym to work out.
Right.
He was red as a beet. His blood pressure had to be, 300
To the
over
roof,
200.
right.
And his style of training was crazy.
Yeah.
He'd load everything up, heavy weights, no warm-up, do 1 rep. That was the end.
That was it. He'd do the bench press with the one arm this way and this one forward.
Yeah.
And he had a Cadillac convertible. Sometimes he'd mix that whatever he was drinking out of his trunk with milk, and he'd mix it together and drink it down. But he was a good guy.
He was a great guy.
Funny guy.
Funny guy.
And then you had Einar the plumber.
Einar, I met him in the at World Gym. When Joe opened the gym, for about 4 or 5 months, he had a steam bath. It didn't last any longer than that because people like Einar, he's a nice guy, used it to wash and dry his clothes. He would string a line across the steam bath. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, when Joe found out about that, the steam bath became a storage unit, and no one ever used it again.
I heard a story about the sauna. There was a sauna. The Gypsy Boots came in.
Yeah.
And he peed in there.
Well, that I don't know.
Yeah, and that was kind of like the end of that sauna too. Yeah, we had so many characters back in the day. I mean, most of them are gone now. We've talked about trying to interview them, but people want me to interview certain people. They're just not around. There's some of the stars that we have moved away. Some aren't doing really well health-wise. But the era back then was a completely different thing. So many people wish they were part of that. I mean, it was something that can never be duplicated, right?
Right, and everybody wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be a part of it. I was just a wannabe. I was no great bodybuilder ever. But I loved being around the electricity that was generated in that gym.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
There was a motivation in that gym that you don't see in any gym today.
Nowhere.
When you walk in the doors, you became part of the family, and you worked out, and everybody was a buddy. We all hung out together, parties, and the door was always open.
Always fun. And Joe had also a cast of characters that worked for him.
Right. And Zabo?
He had Zabo. He had another guy that the only name I knew then was Fat Arms Charlie.
I was going to bring him up, yeah.
And then he had another fellow who I'm very close to, and you are too, to this day, Eddie Giuliani, and he called him Edgy, because anytime he was training for a contest, he got very cranky and on edge.
Right.
So his name became Edgy.
Right.
But anyway, Zabo was the one. Zabo was a wonderful guy.
Yes.
He didn't like to talk, and he didn't like to do business. And he was the face of World Gym.
He was the face of World Gym, and there's a guy who doesn't want to deal with the public.
He hates the public.
Yeah.
In fact, I always tell this story because I was privy to it. Foreigners used to come to the gym all the time. Saturdays and Sundays, people from Germany, people from England, people from Japan.
Right.
They would be in the gym on Saturdays because they wanted to see their stars.
Right.
Well, this one particular Saturday, Zabo was working. Guy comes in his broken English and he said, "I want to buy a World Gym jacket."
Oh, I think I know this. Go, please. This is a good story.
So Zabo said, "Man, I'm sorry. We don't have it. We'll come back in a week. Maybe there'll be some." The guy comes back a week later, "I want to get my jacket." He said, I couldn't find one. So the fellow leaves, and Eddie Giuliani's behind the desk too, and he said, Sabo, why did you tell him there's no jackets? There's a bunch of jackets upstairs. I said, Eddie, look, if I sell the jacket, pretty soon we're going to run out of jackets. And then what do we have to do? We got to order them again. This way, we're never going to run out.
Yeah, that's his.
That was his.
The phone would ring on the wall and say, Jables, the phone ringing. He says, don't worry, they'll call back.
Yeah.
Or he's doing the crossword puzzle or sleeping. Someone gives him the joint. Don't bother me. Can't you see I'm sleeping? This is the front man for the gym. All right, so let's go to the bigger thing.
No, I want to continue on.
Okay, let's go.
Joe Gold passed away in 2004.
Right.
Sabo was, of course, still working at the gym. Phone rings. It's on a Sunday. We had a memorial service for Joe at the California Yacht Club.
Right.
Phone rings. Sabo answers it. Apparently, the guy said, "I want to talk to Joe Gold."
Speak up a little, just a little louder.
The guy said, "I want to talk to Joe Gold." So Sabo said, "He's not here." And the guy said, "Well, when do you expect him?" He said, "Well, he didn't say." And he hung up. You know, Joe had died months before.
Yeah.
But that was Sabo.
That was Sabo.
Or if someone called up, "Hey, listen, I got to talk to Dr. Wexler." Sabo would put the phone to his chest. He'd say, "Well, let me see. I'll see if he's here." He'd put the phone to his chest, wait a count of 10, and he'd get on the phone again. "No, he's not here." Hang up.
I seen him do that.
That's our boy.
That's our boy. That's exactly what he was like. The things that people want to hear about is, of course, they want to hear how was it when you met Arnold.
Well, I met Arnold right away. Again, because I was a lawyer, he had a couple of silly questions, and but he's a very, I have to say, at all times he was a very imposing character.
Yeah.
And like I said, I did an interview with somebody else, I can't remember now, but I said that the most dangerous thing that could happen in the gym was being caught by Arnold doing an exercise all wrong.
Right.
Because he wouldn't say anything. He'd sneak up behind you and he'd just stand there and look. And of course you saw him, so you're trying extra hard.
Yeah.
But after you finish that set, Mikey, what the hell are you doing? It's all wrong, of course. So he did that with everyone.
Yeah, he did.
If you were doing it wrong, you were going to hear it.
Yeah.
Or if you were dogging it, you were going to hear it. So
He trained hard.
he trained
Really hard.
unbelievable.
But it was nothing elaborate. It was nothing out of the ordinary back in the day. I mean, we did basic exercise. Just hard.
Trained hard, and I think, as I recall, Monday was leg day,
Yeah.
and I forget what the routine was. They'd come in. He trained at that time with Denny Gable,
Right.
or Franco Colombo, or someone else. But
I think Ken Waller.
Yeah. And he'd use those guys as motivation
Right.
and for help. For example, when he did donkey calves,
Right.
which you used to do, he'd put Franco on his back,
Right.
and do calf raising.
Right.
And the same thing with Kenny Waller, and the same thing with what's his name? Denny Gable.
Denny Gable, right.
Yeah.
Who also passed away.
This is not an interview of death.
No, but it seems to be like this is where they all are. Yeah, we did all that. The donkey calf, two guys on, one guy hop off,
Yeah.
one guy finish. And this helped him get through his workout. It was more about his workout.
Oh, always.
It wasn't about their workout.
All about Arnold.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the way it was. I mean, but it was still fun. And we had Zucchi's Deli,
Oh, it was great. And the German, remember the German?
German's restaurant,
6 eggs
Yeah.
and toast for
Yeah.
like $2
or less.
or less.
Yeah, that was the brother and sister, the girl with the hairy armpits.
Yep. Yeah, they were. I didn't even know the name of the place.
It's called the Germans.
Called the Germans.
The Germans, yeah, on the beach.
Yep.
Clint Eastwood came in the gym one day and wanted to know where to eat, and somebody sent him down there and said, "Don't send him to that ptomaine place. It's disgusting." He went down there and liked it.
Sure.
It was good. It was good for the day. Well, I just wanted to go back to a little bit of time with you because it was a fun time of our life.
It was a fun time.
And people ask all the time, they all want to be a part of it, they want to hear about it. And it's like when I have these interviews and talk about it, it's like taking them back through time again.
I love it.
So here we are, it's 2013, we're in Las Vegas, the World Gym Convention, with new owners for the past few years. You're involved with World Gym now.
Yes, I am.
And
Happy to be.
Giving it a boost and see what we can do there. It's a nice banquet.
Tonight's banquet will be great.
Yeah, it'll be great. We're going to do more interviews tonight, and I just want to thank you so much for doing this with me.
Well, frankly, I want to thank you.
Why?
Because for doing these interviews,
Yes.
no, they're fantastic.
Thank you.
And it's an archive of our lives,
Absolutely.
our history, our lives.
It'll be like the Lincoln Library. Thank you guys for watching. We'll bring you more on next Rick's Corner.
It's ricksracing.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.